Good day, and thank you so much for tuning in to this new episode of the Microdose Diet. My guest today is very special. Her name is Dr. Lise Janelle. Lise is an author, a speaker, and a coach extraordinaire. Today, Lise is going to share with you a unique approach to unlocking your full potential. Today, she's working on her third book that is called Unstuck, with her friend Jack Canfield. Yes, the super celeb author Jack Canfield from the Success Principles and the Chicken Soup for the Soul series. So stay with us, you're going to learn a lot today. My name is Peggy van de Plassche. I'm a former banker and venture capitalist. Now I speak and write on the psychedelic industry and the benefits of microdosing psilocybin strategically and mindfully. I created the Microdose Diet, which is a 90-day plan for success and happiness. You can follow me on all the social media, podcast, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, but also Substack and LinkedIn. So Lise, thank you so much for being here with me today. I'm so excited to have you.
Oh, thank you, Peggy, for inviting me. And I'm excited to work with you. I must say, Peggy is amazing. Like, she's one of this person that walked into my office and she was driven. She wanted to live a good life and she took action. So I'm actually very grateful that I get to spend this time with you because you are an inspiring person. And I know you can inspire many people out there because you walk your talk, you do the work, you do the transformation. You're quite an inspiration.
Oh, thank you, Lise. And it's funny because I wanted to tell the audience that we've known and worked together for many years and that I am extremely grateful and I have tremendous amount of respect for your work because you really helped my life. So it's very funny to start the conversation that way. But let's get started. I want you to have as much time as you can to explain us what you do and how you can help people change their life. So what I really want the audience to understand is your approach and your focus on limiting belief to achieve success. So can you tell us more why you believe that attacking self-sabotaging belief is the key to success?
Because personally, in my own life, I've always been very driven, wanting to live a great life. And in my background, I'm a chiropractor, and I was always wanting to do amazing results with my patients. I wanted more than just musculoskeletal transformation. I wanted whole health transformation. Then I discovered this man. His name is Scott Walker, and he created a method called NET, which is neuro-emotional technique. And the first time I go there, you use muscle testing. It's like you're resisting a statement.
Yeah.
The statement I was checking myself on is, I want to be successful. And lo and behold, it looked like subconsciously I didn't want to be successful. And it's like, it didn't make any sense. Like, I was all about success. I was like a Canadian rower, top, gold medal winner, Henley, all these things on my own business. Like, I was always full on. But when I tested myself subconsciously, we discovered that I didn't want to be successful. It's like, why not? So that got me inspired right away. It's like, okay. And this is how I discovered that, relatively speaking, your mind, your conscious mind that really wants something is about the size of a football. And your subconscious mind that's there to keep you alive, which is very important, the football field.
Yes.
And
it's like the iceberg,
it has a lot of power. So, and I always use a visual, so I like to use this one. So when your subconscious mind has associated more pain than pleasure, or more danger than safety, something you want to have, it won't let you have it. For example, I had an Olympic level skier come to see me, and she had not placed in 2 years. And she was frustrated because, especially if you're a Canadian athlete, you sacrifice, your life to make no money.
Exactly.
And you're like at this because just for, the glory of it. And so when I tested her and I'm ready, willing, and able to win, lo and behold, we found the moment. And the goal is to find the exact moment when a belief got imprinted in your physiology. When your subconscious mind has associated more pain than pleasure, more danger than safety to something. Yeah. So for her, I tested her on, I'm ready, willing, and able to be successful. And so we went back. She was around 7 years old, if my memory is correct. And she was already really good. And her brothers were not as good at skiing. So her mom, when she would win, would hide her medals in her trophy, so that her brothers wouldn't feel bad. So can you imagine? Now she had associated winning with hurting other people's feelings, be a bad person. So now, if people remember your Pavlov's dog, you know, the famous experiment, you bring food to the dog salivates, it's hungry, you ring a bell. Well, you don't need to bring food anymore. You just ring the bell and the dog. So now, as an athlete, your teammates and even sometimes your opponents, your competitors, they subconsciously feel like, just like a bell and food is not the same thing, but there's a connection. So now you associate winning with upsetting other people.
Exactly.
And I've worked with other athletes. I love working with athletes. I love working with people with high drive, making things happen in life, because tweaking one thing or two makes a huge difference. So, and I've worked with another of my clients, she's a wrestler and she wants to make it to the Olympics. And she went from not doing so well at the university level and working with me, she ended up winning the world championships. And it was the same thing for her. She had associated, before she started working with me, she had associated winning with upsetting other people, that she felt more deserving of winning than her. Her big brother was supposed to win, but she was beating her brother, you know? So with doing the work we had, I think we had 2 sessions. She went racing and she ended up placing on the podium. And that was the only, because at high level, if you tweak, you know,
yes.
It makes a huge difference. And you would laugh if you were with me, because I can test someone, like, I asked, how much money you want to make this year?
Oh, I know, we've done it together.
So somebody might say, okay, I want to make $1 million a year. But then I test them and, like, really, they're only good at 250. Or they want to make 200,000, but their subconscious mind says, I'm only worth 130. 130, but 200,000, don't go there. So it's so inspiring, because, like, it's not like a magic wand and I'm going to make everything happen for you, but I'm going to take away these beliefs that are working against you, because this is important. Remember this. You won't create what you want in life. You're going to create what you believe.
Exactly.
You won't create what you want in life. You're going to create what you believe. So if subconsciously you believe something else, then you won't consciously, you're making it really hard, really hard.
And you know, it's interesting because we've been taught to always push the accelerators. We're never taught to remove the foot from the brake. And actually, with the same amount of effort or less effort, you can go way faster and way further. And that's the conversation I keep having with people, where I'm like, well, it's great to look at, the hustle culture, work more, sleep less, wake up at 5, whatever. Like, I'm not interested by that. I'm interested by removing what prevents me to be successful, not just becoming, a human doing 18 hours a week. I mean, that's lacking a bit imagination, to do that. I have a question. So with the 2 examples you gave before, these were 2 women with older brothers. I can see that, because I had the same situation at home. But if I were to shine too much, my mother would tell me, well, listen, you should relax because you're going to hurt your brother. And I understand why parents think.
Such a common one. It is such a common one.
I know. So do you see that type of belief more pushed onto women first, or do you see that across the board? If it had been a man, would the mother has hide the medals, or was she expecting anyway? It's normal. The guy is going to be better than the woman, so who cares?
Yeah, no,
Do you see across?
Yeah, I see it across the board. And the one that I find really interesting, especially for men, but you can also have it in women, is like, it's not okay for a man to make more money than their father was making, or to have it easier than their father was having it. I think, and from doing it, what I kind of see like as a pattern, because I've done this with thousands of people, so I start to see pattern. And it's like, you know, if you look at a pack of wolves, there's an alpha wolf and a beta wolf. And the alpha is in charge of the whole tribe. And if a beta manages to beat the alpha, the safety and the security of the whole unit falls apart. It's like, it's an unconscious, unspoken thing that happened where the beta doesn't like challenging the alpha. And it's very important to do it. And sometimes it's because the child doesn't want to, you know, loves their parents so much and feels like it's not fair, that my life is so much easier than my parents. So there's all kinds of stories. So it doesn't have to be traumatic, like somebody put a gun to your head. Little thing. Like for me, I'll tell you one of my stories. So when I first tested myself and I want to be successful, I ended up 5 years old, and it pops. That's what's fascinating. Like the memory just pops. And I'm 5 years old, and I'm coloring in my coloring book, my little sister, and she's 3.5. And I'm 5, so I'm faster than her at coloring. So I finish and I go show my mom, and my mom says, "Well done, Lise, you color between the lines. It's beautiful." Well, my little sister, she couldn't color between the lines, and she was not finished. So now she got up and she ran away crying. So now I was standing there going, again, sibling. I'm standing there going, when I'm successful, I hurt other people's feelings, and worse, I end up alone.
Yes, on top of that,
At the survival level, being alone is not such a good thing. Can you see it? Like people think, oh, it's going to have no, it doesn't have to be traumatic. We were coloring. And what's cool is my sister is the artistic one now. She's better than me. Like that's what you get for coloring between the lines.
Exactly. But you know, I think it's such an interesting point, because most people believe it has to be traumatic. And the daily experience at home, at school, maybe at church, or you know, any type of community place, you're gonna have these experiences. And as a kid, well, you take everything at face value, and it becomes, you know, wow, being successful is actually very dangerous. And obviously you are a coach focusing on, you know, really unlocking potential, making sure people, you know, reach their human potential. You're an unlocker, if I can say that. So you mentioned the fact that, okay, I don't want to be successful because I'm afraid to hurt people, or I don't want to be better than my parents, so I'm not rejected. Any other limiting belief, I would say, in the top 3 that you see often, that maybe people should also start thinking, well, I think I might have that in me as well.
Yeah, it's often either because we don't want to be ostracized socially. It's a big one. Like even I was in Chicago and I was giving a keynote to 350 coaches from all over the place. And I invited them to come and test themselves on, I want to be successful. And I had at least 100 coaches come and I tested them. And out of 100, only one person was congruent with being successful.
Wow.
Imagine coaches, they're all about success, other people be successful, but all of them, 99% of them consciously wanted it, but subconsciously it was not in line. And they were afraid of being alone. They were afraid people were going to be jealous of them. Afraid of losing the community. So that's obviously a big one. The other one that I see is in relationships with love. So you're a little kid and you're watching your parents and they're learning how to love. So they are exhausted because they have you, and it's very intense, and they have their own story going on.
Exactly.
And you watch your parents, and if they have a good relationship, then you have a different association. But most of us grew up watching our parents fighting, not being happy, being miserable, and now we end up associating being in relationship with something being painful. So then we start going, I never want to be hurt like this. I'm never going to let myself be hurt like this. But everybody wants to love. Everybody wants to love and feel love. So consciously, we think, okay, I'm never going to let myself be hurt. Like, we are drawn to learn to love. So we still go ahead, but because subconsciously we never want to be hurt, we never allow ourselves to have the real relationship. That could allow us to actually learn how to love. So we fight, we do all kinds of things. We're so afraid. And so I'm right after the book is done with Jack, I'm writing a 4th book. And so far the title is Love is Safe. If it's not safe, it's not love. Because people are afraid of love, which is the most beautiful thing in the world.
But that's the association, to your point.
The people was like, oh no, I don't want to go into start dating. It's because you don't have the right association.
Exactly.
Your subconscious mind has associated more pleasure to something that's the most beautiful thing to have in the world. I have a free tool called the Happy Relationship. So if you want to download something really good about that, it's called happyrelationshipchecklist.com. And you can learn the 5 points to have if you want to have a consciously loving relationship. It's really cool. I really love it.
We'll put it in the comments so people can. And before I jump to the last question, which is really about your book, can you tell us more about your methodology? And you're not only coaching, you're also forming coaches. Before we jump to Unstuck, can you tell us a bit more about that?
So my goal is to have this method all around the world. So with Jack, the book, hopefully, like, he's sold 600 million books.
That should help. That should help.
So hopefully we'll sell at least 1 million. So my idea is I want to train different coaches in different languages. So I have some French, English, Spanish already. And I want to bring it in all different languages around the world. So I want to train people, coaches, and it's called the Heart Freedom Method. And it's a method you can use if you're face-to-face with your client, but you can also do it on Zoom. So I have different ways of doing it so that you can use the mind-body connection to find the moment the belief got created. And then we go about freeing yourself from the illusion. And this is the biggest story that I have. The way I look at it is we have 2 stages to human development. The first one is the unconscious, the sleep and infantile stage, where we're in constant reaction to the world around us. When the world reacts to us the way we like, we feel good about ourselves. If it doesn't, then we think something is wrong with us. And I also call this the boot camp. So everybody goes through stage 1. And it's also kind of hell on earth. It's not fun because you're constantly trying to manipulate the world around you to make you feel good about yourself. And that's not going to happen. That's called an unwinnable game. It's like stressful. And I have an analogy I created because I think it really gives a good example and it really frees the heart. There are 3 basic type of boot camps. The first boot camp, I call that the musical boot camp. So you go to that boot camp, you grew up in this family, things are hunky-dory, you don't get challenged too much, not too much challenge. But what ends up happening is you end up not being able to face challenges. As you get out of this family into the real world, when things hit you, it's not so fun.
No resilience has been built.
Exactly. Those are actually my worst clients. When I have people come from that environment and they want to live great lives, they're not used to getting out of their comfort zone.
Yes, I can see that.
There are people who were born into, I call that an athletic boot camp. And the athletic boot camp, is better because you get supported and challenged.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn and you grow and things like this, but it's still, you can still create stories about your worth because you're being challenged.
Yeah.
And then I have the third boot camp, which I call the Navy SEAL boot camp. And if you know Navy SEALs training, like they have Hell Week where they don't sleep for a whole week. They do crazy thing, being in the water, holding a boat over their head, like it's nuts. But if you graduate from the Navy SEAL boot camp, you're a superhero.
Yeah.
But when we are born into a family dynamic that's either music, athletic, or Navy SEAL, it's really easy to end up thinking something must be wrong with me for having had these challenges. Nothing is wrong with you. And that's my biggest message is no matter the challenges you face while growing up, your job is to ask yourself, why would my soul, why would my higher self want me to have this experience? Because once you start looking at it, then you can have gratitude. Because once you have gratitude, you instantaneously increase your self-worth. Once you increase your self-worth, it gets reflected in everything, your relationship, your career, your finances, everything ends up matching that. So that's also part of my big message that I wanted to pass today is that nothing is wrong with you for having been challenged. And if you're lucky, what ends up happening is stage 1 ends and you get booted up into stage 2, which I call creating heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Often when people come to see me, it's because they had a challenge. Either they lost their money, they lost their career, they lost their health, they lost their spouse. Something happened where they feel like, oh my goodness, I need help. And they come. Or, so you can come and see me because you're challenged, or you can come and see me because you're inspired. So maybe you listen to Peggy's podcast right now. And you're going for what I call the baseball bat, and you go, maybe I need to leave stage 1. I'm gonna go into stage 2.
And I need to say, I met Lise because it's a funny story. I was in a health shop and I hear these 2 ladies raving about a practitioner, a famous Lise, and they're going on and on. So I'm behind the shelves. I'm slowly creeping close to them. And I'm like, okay, I want to meet them. And I'm not one to really go towards, especially years ago, to go towards stranger. I'm like, I cannot let that go. So I went to see these ladies. I'm like, who's that Lise? So they gave me your name and your phone number. And that's, I reached out to you. And I hear what you are saying. I was probably not baseball bat, but I was just like, I know something better exists. I want more,
You were seeking.
Yes, exactly. And to your point, I think you have a lot of people looking for coach and support when they hit a wall, whatever wall. But I think you also have, thank God, a lot of people who are just like, you know what, I haven't hit a wall. Maybe yet, I don't know, but I want more, and I worked with you, and I have friends who work with you who were part of a first bucket, and some like me who were part of a second bucket, and we both got tons out of it, so that's what I want to convey as well to the audience. Don't wait for the bad event. Start now. The earlier you start, the better.
Yeah. And I love that. I loved you right away just because of the way you talk about. I love working with people who are seeking and willing to take chances and love and work and see me. So in stage 2, what you do is you become really conscious. So stage 2 is the conscious, awakened, mature stage. And what you do is you start using everything you've learned in your boot camp. From your heart. So you don't do, like in stage 1, we're compensating for a sense of feeling poorly about ourselves, compensating. So I'm poor, I'm going to look for money, or I'm stupid, so I'm going to try to be artistic, whatever people believe. So they're constantly running away from something because something is wrong with them. In stage 2, you're conscious and you start, first, it's important. Everybody needs to have a statement of purpose. It's your guiding light. It's the most amazing thing you can have, because if you don't know what you want to create with your life, what are you going to create? Caca. And okay, I'm going to give you a visual. All right. This is my visual for success. Okay. So this is the yin, this is the yang, this is the female principle of listening. So if you want to be successful in life, you need to listen to your heart. And your heart wants you to know two things. The first thing your heart wants you to know is you're worthy of love. And let go of any story to the opposite. The second thing your heart wants you to admit is your dreams and aspirations. But most people don't take the time to ask what it is I want. You know why? Because they're afraid, what if I know what I want and I ask for it, but I don't get it?
Exactly.
I don't want to go there.
Exactly.
So if you love yourself, you're going to go, since I'm worthy of love, I'm going to pay attention to what I want. And so creating a statement of purpose is actually telling the universe what you want to create. So for me, I wrote down my mission statement in 1989. And back then, probably 20% of it was true. By now, 99% of it is true. It's so important to have a guiding light because we have so many different ways of using our time every day.
Exactly.
I don't need a crystal ball to know what your life is going to be 20 years from now. I can just follow you and know how you use your time. If you use your time in what's good for your heart, 20 years from now, you're going to be happy. If you don't use your time wisely, you're going to be miserable.
Exactly.
So first, you need to listen to your heart, and then it's about organizing your time to give your heart what it wants. And that's what you do in stage 2. You start building a life, creating heaven on earth, benefiting from the boot camp. That's how you really heal your heart too, is when you see that there was nothing wrong with you, that you were actually being prepped for success. You were being prepped to live a beautiful life. And the only thing holding you back from creating heaven on earth is the illusion that something was wrong with you for having had that boot camp.
Yeah. And, I think that's so important with stage 1, stage 2. Very often we think stage 1 is the only stage. And then we think the external world coming to us is the only thing. We have a few minutes left. So tell us more about your coaching program. I'm sure
all right. So
you have people listening and they're like, tell me more.
Yes, I have it's like people can come and coach with me. I have a 6-month coaching program. I would love to coach with you one-on-one. I also have some online program. I have one called Soul Worthy Love, where I help people find true love in their life. And I also have one, it's called Unleash Your Dream Life. And it's an online program we meet once a month online, and I teach you how to do the mind body work, and with career, with finance, with relationship, with health, weight management, all those things. So you get to learn the method, and you get to learn to apply it to all the different areas of your life. And my dream, just like Bill Gates wanted every family to have a computer, I want every family to have one person at least who knows how to do the heart freedom method.
Yes.
I believe that if we can help people live amazing life, if we can create a world where people love who they are, where their hearts are free to expand, we can transform this world. So that is my vision. I want to really anchor, not as a head concept, but as a heart integrated concept, that you are worthy of love. You're worthy to have everything you want. And every time you have an emotion, it's an illusion. Because you are worthy of love, and you deserve to have everything your heart desires, not your infatuation, your heart, as long as you put the time and the energy to create it in your life.
Yeah, that's a great message to pass on. So if I'm thinking about Unstuck, so will you in the book explain the methodology? So you're explaining, I assume, stage 1, stage 2. You're explaining a lot of what you explain us with the football field. And so that's really a bit a guide, I would say. Am I correct?
Yeah, so that was the idea with Jack. Jack has been using the method with large groups of 800 people and such, and like he spends like 5 days with people, and like they do all kinds of different experience. And he says like the heart freedom method is always one of the top 2 things that people love the most about the week, because he introduces them to the method. So The book will be really good. And for those people who want to go deeper, Unleash Your Dream Life is an amazing course for that. And it's 12 lessons. So you get 1 lesson a week, and you get two coaching sessions a month if you want to join us. And then the next step, if you really want to go deep, and for yourself, for your family, for your clients, if you're a coach, like, you can get the training, you can get a certification in doing the work.
Well, and I think, like, it builds on each other. I actually started working with you through a seminar. Then we did the coaching, and I think that's, you always come for a different entry point, whether you come for a book, for an online class, for in person, like you get a lot of everything. So Lise,
I really like the seminar you're talking about is called Extreme Freedom. And
yes,
that's where I get you to write a statement of purpose for
exactly.
It's super important to have a statement of purpose.
I still have mine, and I still literally refer and think about it. Maybe not every day, but at least every other day. It's like, it's in the back of my mind, and I'm just like, oh my God, we wrote that, I don't know, 7 years ago. So that's quite some time. Well, Lise, thank you so much. We will include in the comments all the links so people can refer to it, they can understand what is Lise doing. I highly recommend to look at what she's doing, and whether you start with a book, with a coaching in person, or with an online class, honestly, that will be energy, time, and money very, very well spent. So that's and I've done that myself, so I'm a trustworthy reference. So thank you so much, Lise. I don't know if you have any parting words, but thank you again for being here.
Yes, thank you, Peggy, for having me. And all of you listening right now, when you face a challenge, take a deep breath and go, since I'm worthy of love, what is the benefit to me of this lesson right now? What am I supposed to learn? Because everything that's happening for you is actually happening for you, not to you, but for you.
For you. I like that. That's definitely a great parting thought. So thank you so much, Lise, for your time. Really appreciate it, and have a fantastic day.
You too. Bye.